So then it was Scott's turn to have a crack. Now again, this is not the sort of thing that Scott normally does. He's an outback guy, beach driving guy. This low range technical sort of driving is fairly new to him. So he's come in and he's watched what I've done, to his credit, and paid attention. And he's got to a section on the track and I feel like he just turned a little bit too early. And what's happened is he's put the car right up on its side, got a big angle, and before you knew it, fair dinkum, before I can even say anything, he's on his side. Unbelievable. It can happen in the blink of an eye. However, I reckon for Scott, he probably felt like it took an age to go over. It's just the way that it goes. But obviously your first thought when you see this sort of thing is he all right? So raced down there, got the door open, and yeah, he was right as rain, thankfully.
Just prior to us actually lifting a wheel, we'd recognised that this was not where we wanted to be. We recognised we'd picked the wrong line, but you know, as he's mentioned, what in the car feels like minutes passing is in reality fractions of a second. It was at that point that we both acknowledged that we were going over. The thought process was just to simply to hang on. You know, we had prepared ourselves properly at the bottom of the track. We'd done our seatbelts up extra tight, which is a good move to do before any rough terrain. Just helps to keep your position. We had our windows up, so there's no chance of anything coming in. I already had a firm hold because we'd already been moving through some pretty rugged terrain. So honestly, it was pretty secure. It was, in the end, the softest roll of them all. You know, the roof rack, if you like, was our crumple zone, and it sort of took the load and then broke away, and the car itself has come out, you know, 99% unscathed.
So we're tackling a hard track here, and just took a bit of a high line, and she started to roll up, and before I knew it, she was on the side. I couldn't stop it. A bit of a shock to the system, but luckily we had the side steps and the protection equipment, which really factored in the safety of it all. Yeah, it was a memorable day. I'll never forget it, for sure. But what I won't forget is how we got it over on its wheels again. How we used the recovery gear and the snatch block and the surrounding areas to winch it back over onto its wheels to get it all going again. And if it wasn't for an engine fault, it'd be still running today. Now I'd be still going with it. So it's a day I'll never forget.
So we took a minute to compose ourselves. You know, the adrenaline is absolutely flowing in those sorts of times, and it pays just to slow down, calm down, and approach it with a very calm head. We had a bit of a look around and realised the vehicle's not going to go anywhere. We secured it with the front winch off Scott's vehicle. We used my winch to roll out to a big tree, a nice big tree as an anchor point. We put a snatch block in there and changed the direction of the line back to Scott's car. We used a tree trunk protector around his side steps and got the winch going and slowly brought it back over onto its side. So we're going to use a strap here on the car, and it's just you know, any anchor point for a winch. It's a smart idea to use this sort of thing rather than just connect up. You know, it's just like a tree. Obviously you want to protect the tree, but you also want to protect your recovery gear. And in this case, what's going to be under massive load is that rope and hook. So we want to minimise the stress on that, make sure that it's not touching anything sharp.
So we gently winched and reversed until we got it down to a safe spot.
Seeing that vehicle come back up off its side and just, you know, gently flop back onto its wheels was a relief as much as anything. And really, I couldn't believe how little damage there was for what was, you know, a pretty heavy duty roll. If it wasn't for the sidebars and those side steps, I reckon that vehicle would have been a write-off because that was pretty gnarly.
And then we jacked it up, changed the wheel over, and we're thinking, beauty, there's not much damage. We looked around it, we might be able to even drive this out. Well, there's not too much damage done to it. It's a good thing we've got the side rails and side steps. Yes, we've copped a bit in the guard here, but we haven't stoved any of the doors in, or the rear panel got a little bit. But what protected the most was the side steps, the brush bars, and the rear bar. I'm so glad they were on there, because otherwise there would have been a lot more damage done to this vehicle.
So we've towed Scott out behind the Mighty Ranger, did the job. Pretty steep little track too, I might add. Got him up there onto the flat ground and got the sat phone out and basically called for reinforcements and got a tilt tray out here to take him to the local TJM store, and hopefully he'll be back on the tracks next week.